Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Get Geek podcast, where we celebrate geek, nerd, and pop culture. Each week, we deliver the best analysis for fans, by fans, on anything related to movies, TV, video games, comics, anime, and manga. We talk geek. And now, here's the Get Geek podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I smacked the microphone. It's fine. What is up, y'all? This is the Get Geek podcast. Welcome, y'all. I'm joined today by Walt, AJ, and Eli. Of course, I am Jose. Y'all say what's up, please.
Goodbye.
What's up?
Hello.
Hello. You say goodbye, and
I say hello.
musical mood this morning. Welcome to the
There you go.
podcast, everybody. We're going to get right into the conversation, but before we get to that, the quick disclaimers, the quick plea. We are recording remotely, so if there's any issues or artifacts, y'all know. Slide into DMs and let us know what's up. Slide into our DMs at Get Geek Podcast. You can check us out. Hashtag Get Geek Podcast in order to find all of our social media platforms, which you can find on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, we're on it. You can also find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. And please like, rate, share, and subscribe, and give us a review on Apple Podcasts to support one of your favorite podcast crews.
There you go.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Yes, sir. Anyways, y'all, welcome.
What are we
welcome,
doing
welcome.
today? What are we doing
We're gonna do a little bit of a Geek Out podcast, a Geek Out episode leading to a convo about one of the more recent fun shows and one of the more recent fun trailers that we saw. So, yeah, as I said, y'all, after the disclaimers and the plea, let's get right into it, ladies and gents. Eli, please. What have you been geeking out about?
Yeah, I'll start.
Yeah.
So like recently we've been watching this show called Narcos Mexico about
Hey.
The continuing
here's the
legacy.
yeah, it's like there's two different shows, Narcos, which is the first one,
Mhm.
and we're watching the second one, the one that comes after Narcos Mexico.
Mhm.
And basically it focuses on like, Miguel, Felix, and Hel Gallardo, right? It's such a long name, but yeah. So and like his
Gallardo.
yeah.
That's a
his,
character
like-
in Attack on Titan.
What? Oh my god.
Gallardo.
But
Mhm.
he has like his own drug trade thing. Basically, he runs like his own drug trade thing.
It's called a cartel.
Yeah,
my
a cartel.
friend.
I was
So-
trying to find the right word.
It's
Narcos
connected-
traficantes.
It's connected to the first show, right?
Yeah. With like basically, they bring in some past people from like, well, no, not necessarily past, but like, they do bring in some people from the first show, Narcos.
Right. To tie it because it's basically the same timeline.
Yeah, it's the
Can
same
I-
timeline.
Can
Was
I
that-
ask a question? I know Narcos was based on some history. Is Narcos Mexico also based on some history? Or is it more fictional? Like
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's
historical?
fully-
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
fully historical.
Based on.
There are more characters in Narcos Mexico that are fictionalized. There are amalgamation of characters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But all the events of the shows are based on true story, on the real life events of the drug war. The first season deals with the drug war from the perspective of Colombia,
Yeah.
and the
with
second one
Pablo.
obviously is Mexico.
Pablo Escobar. You mean by Pablo, right?
Escobar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
And what is it?
the second one is all about Mexico.
Well, the second one is all about Mexico, but basically we get to see Miguel, Felix, and Hel Gallardo, right?
The Thin Man.
The Thin Man, Felix, and his like rise to power in the cartel,
Mhm.
and definitely some of his faults and mistakes.
Which there were many.
Oh,
right?
yeah, many, very many mistakes. But I mean, for the most part, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the season, honestly. If I'm gonna be honest.
So there are 3 seasons.
Well, yeah,
We've
there's
seen 2 of them, right?
yeah. Well, about the show, I mean. About
Oh,
the
okay.
show.
Overall,
Overall,
Mm.
because okay, this since this is just impressions, I'll just give you my quick impression, right? Miguel Felix and Hell is definitely different from what we saw in Narcos, because in Narcos we got to see like what is it, Pablo and what was it,
The Cali
the
cartel.
Cali
The
cartel.
Rodriguez brothers.
Yeah. So I mean, I won't lie, Felix is a little bit of a pretty bad crime boss. Like he sucks at his
Because
job.
the problem is that not only is he dealing with a very difficult region, he, especially by the end of it, he thinks it's a one man operation when it's really not.
Yeah.
So he's Boba Fett.
Basically.
Yo.
Yeah, you know what? That's not a bad,
Sorry, Wolfie.
bad comparison,
know.
because at the beginning of Narcos Mexico, you know, Mexico and the drug trade is really broken up by plazas, right? There are different regions that are ruled by different
Yeah.
people,
By different families.
and it's all about the weed, right? They're trafficking in marijuana, and Felix has
Spice.
Felix has the vision to kind of unite all these
Yeah.
cartels and plazas into one federation.
Mhm.
But it proves very, very difficult because there are pre-existing animosities between the plazas to begin with, and he
and
kind of
not to
does
mention-
show favoritism towards some of the plazas as well, which kind of amps that up. And he really has a hard time reining those guys in.
I
And
mean,
then
he
it's-
said it in like this recent season. They're not necessarily partners at this point.
Mhm.
They're literally just employees, really.
Except they don't feel that way.
Yeah, except they just want their fair share of the federation, basically.
Yeah, and it's also interesting, and this is something I didn't realize until the kids pointed out. Um, the really famous drug lord El Chapo is part of one of those plazas. So we're kind of seeing a prequel to his story.
It's the
in a sense,
origin
right?
story for El Chapo.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
Which
Joker.
El Chapo just recently got arrested and is jailed within the last 2 years. You know, so
Mexican Joker. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty interesting, especially the difference between the first series where Pablo Escobar really had his stuff together until the very end, where he got super paranoid, right? And Felix, who, like you said, he's kind of a nimwit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's got the vision, but what's his problem?
Uh,
It's always
he's very impulsive, honestly. Like he always makes like he always walks into something. He just like walks into a man into like a no, not he just walks into like a minefield just without even like realizing. Well, no. He just walks straight into danger. That's what I'm trying to say. Like he's always putting himself in the worst positions, and it's practically the reason why it was his downfall.
he was too ambitious, honestly. Like
I
he tried like every time he did something, it was either A, without consulting anyone, or B, it, like you said, it wasn't necessarily a good idea and it was a super risky move. He likes to deal in like super risky, possibly
it's a gamble.
yeah. He liked gambling a lot.
Yeah,
Um
he's very selfish too.
oh
I mean,
god, like at first I kind of liked him, but as the show went on and you
He's
can
just
kind of see how he was getting acclimated to his power, that
like-
faded away really quickly.
just a douchebag, bro. If I'm being real. And we also got some other characters such as Breslin, who's like the main character,
No.
somewhat of season 2, right? Because technically season 1 was focused on something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do see Breslin, and oh my god, the way they did him is just absolutely horrible. Like every
Well, they did the same thing to Pena too, basically.
yeah, oh yeah, Pena.
They're always getting the DA agents are always getting screwed no matter what.
Well, Pena at least had a for spoiler alert. Pena at least had a win in Narcos.
Did he though?
Yeah,
Did he though?
because he stopped like
You forgot the ending.
No,
didn't
the
you?
end. No, I remember the ending. That's technically a win.
No,
as far as I'm
the
concerned.
ending,
Yes,
where he's
remember
talking
the
with his
ending.
father.
And
Yeah.
they're still trafficking drugs literally in front of him.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Whatever, whatever.
Yeah, a quote unquote win. It's
But
not really a win.
he did technically. I mean, but Walt didn't really.
Walt got it worse though. He did
Yeah,
because he
Walt got
got
it way worse.
absolutely next to nothing done.
yeah.
No, absolutely nothing done, which sucks. But yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. So do you think Narcos Mexico is a worth compare it to the two
Obviously.
between which one is the better series?
Narcos, the first Narcos, because I feel like it had a better villain, quote unquote, right? And like just a better story to tell, in general.
Okay.
While Miguel was like sort of
Nah, but
I don't, nah, he's just not as good as Pablo, and I'm pretty sure we can agree on that.
here's the thing though. I don't think he's meant to be like the main villain star because I think what this is building up to is what they were talking about in the final episode.
Chapo.
No, not even that. Like he basically laid it out for Breslin like, "All right, you got me. But now guess what? Bro, you're going to miss me
Yeah.
cuz like what happens after it's really really bad."
Yeah.
And they really do end up missing this guy, to be honest.
Well, we still have season 3
Yeah.
to watch, so there's still um some mystery as to where it's going to go. I we think we know what it's going to be, but we got to watch it to make sure, right?
Yeah.
So,
It is history, but
yeah,
there's
exactly.
still some drama in
Yeah.
between.
So, Narcos Mexico not as good as Narcos, but still a must
Still,
watch, right?
yeah, still definitely you need to watch it.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. AJ, what do you got?
My stuff is going to be kept relatively short because I haven't done much in between the last time we did a Geek Out and this time. The first, it's mostly going to be like being excited over certain things that are coming out in, couple weeks, maybe months, whatever. But the first one I gotta tip my hat off to is we got the Halo series coming out in like what March 24th
Yeah,
or
it's
26th.
basically a little over a month from now.
Yeah, that it looks it looks good. I mean, I have a little criticisms with some of the designs for the elites, but that's just minor stuff, honestly. Otherwise, everything else looks pretty good. It looks like they don't even know. Like this looks like before Halo One, if you want to
Oh,
put it
really?
that way, because they don't even know what Halo is yet.
So this is sort
They're
of like a prequel to the games, right?
Yeah, because remember in the thing they say find the Halo, win the war. So presumably they're going after the Halo super weapon, but they don't know what kind of super weapon it is.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think it's a good idea that they're going prequel as opposed to adapting the games?
I think if you want to get people to learn more about Halo, it's a good move.
Okay.
Maybe I need to see how it plays out though, because at least for me, like I don't know. I just need to see how it goes because this could easily be. It doesn't look like. Well, I wouldn't know what. Well, no, I kind of do know what Reach looks like. Um, it certainly looks like it's changing things because I don't remember. No, you know what? I'm getting a little twisted here. My point is, I'm still excited for it. I just need to see what's going on. I mean, the good thing is too that it's already greenlit for a season 2.
Yep. That
So
is
I hope that's a that's a nod in the right direction.
I would tend to think that that's a heads up. That's a thumbs up from the studio saying, "Hey, we've got a quality project. Let's go with season 2 straight away."
Wait,
You
what
know.
studio is working on this?
Paramount
This
Plus.
is yeah.
Oh,
So
I mean, they're banking a lot on this show, though.
Oh
This is
yeah,
the show that
absolutely.
they're planning to be their I don't know, House of Cards or uh, Mandalorian or something like that. That's going to launch
Hmm.
their streaming service into the competition. But I don't know
Well,
if this is
there's
necessarily
definitely
a confirmation that they have a quality product. I just think this is a company that has a lot of money that's doubling down and saying like, I mean, if you, I don't know if you've seen the commercials where they have like everybody that's on their CVS shows practically like humming the Halo theme.
oh really? That I haven't seen.
Yeah, they have
So
like a bunch of people from like CSI and like all kinds of other show. Reno 911, the lead guy from Reno 911.
they
Like
have the Star Trek people doing it.
I think there's a couple of Star Trek people, not like the big ones, but yeah, they have like all the Paramount people in a
A,
commercial,
s- a
and
Star
they're
I
Trek,
have
a
not
Star
seen
Trek
that.
yeah
Halo crossover.
they're humming the
Stop.
Halo theme
Stop.
around a
Stop.
campfire, and the
Oh
Reno
my god.
911
Oh
actor,
God,
oh goodness, Thomas
I'm getting
something I
a
think is
bad
his name.
feeling about
He
this.
like points out to one of the other characters they're humming the Halo theme. So yeah, but it
Well,
looks
listen,
good though. Looks
they've
interesting.
been the fans of the property have been clamoring for quite a long time for either the Halo movie, which was supposed to be
Yeah.
done originally by the guy that did District 9,
Neil Blomkamp,
19 or 9,
whatever his
whatever.
name is. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know the TV show has kind of been kind of kicking around and stuff. So
Hmm.
the 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 demand for the show is there. So now they just got to nail it, you know, and make sure that at the very least it's watchable. I guess
As long as
you
it's
know.
as good as The
The
Witcher,
only
as
the only
entertaining as The Witcher,
Yeah,
it'll be good.
exactly. Do you AJ? Do you feel there's been confirmation that Master Chief is going to take off his helmet,
I
which was kind of
don't like that.
okay.
It's because of the
It's
actor, I think.
Of course it is. Of
Pablo
course it
Schreiber,
is.
he's pretty
Yeah.
well known.
Yeah.
something like it's always been a thing where you're not really like we all secretly, yes, we want to know the face behind the mask, but at the same time we kind of don't. It's
Is
kind
it
of like
like the
that joke
Mandalorian?
in it's kind of like that joke in the Harley Quinn show. Like the whole relationship between us and Master Chief is based a little bit on mystique. We kind of want to know, but at the same time we don't want to know. Um because it kind of, and I'm not going to say it takes away from him as like a legendary figure, but it certainly like, you know, makes it I am
Mysterious.
have yeah, I guess.
There's
Yes.
there's an aura of mystery around who it is. It's kind of similar to the Mandalorian, right? Except
Hmm.
you knew the Mandalorian he was going to take. Pedro
Knew who the
Pascal
actor
is not
was.
a
Yeah,
face that you cover, right?
yeah.
So,
You,
Jose, you wanted to say something?
yeah. I had a question and like a comment. I mean, because AJ, you know the actor from American Gods, Pablo Schreiber. But do you think, like, since you said this is probably, well, it has to be a
Oh,
prequel, right? Unless it's a reimagining, kind of entirely, that
yeah,
centers around it,
that's
right?
yeah, huh?
That well, that could be it. But like, do you think maybe this is kind of like a thing where it's a prequel and you see him before he becomes the Master Chief, sort of, and never takes his helmet off again, like he has been in the games, right? It could be like almost like the
Well,
reverse of the Mandalorian. You see him as a human first, and then he becomes the amazing badass whose superpower is like he's pretty much unkillable, no matter the
well,
situation. After this,
that's kind of the only thing that I'm afraid of. The fact that this show is technically considered non-canon is the only thing that worries me.
is it considered non-canon, or is it?
That's what I believe you told me
I,
that
maybe
Mm,
once.
I could be wrong.
I'm not sure. Oh, you mean Walt told you that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
that's the only because typically, from what I remember, they don't learn about the Halos until they go and actually see one in Halo 1. Like it was a complete accident. Like there's no real like nod to, oh, we know kind of that we have to look for the Halos. But no, Dad was also right. Walt was also right.
Hmm.
Um, it's a new canon, which is a
Uh,
little concerning to me. But wow, I'm not on the fence, but I'm certainly a little worried. Um, but to answer your question, I mean, I guess if this is a completely different version of Master Chief,
Hmm.
I'm gonna try to be open
Hmm.
to him taking his mask off and
Hmm.
see how they play it off. But I am still hesitant towards it. I really am, because
No.
that's not the Master Chief that. Okay, I'm not. I'm gonna sound like a fanboy right now. That's not the Master Chief we know. But like there are just certain things about a character you try not to change, and this is one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand how you feel about that. I mean, I mean, you guys, I guess you figure that the studios did sort of what Disney did with Star Wars. They almost wiped out the canon because they they wanted to leave themselves open to doing whatever they wanted in case the show is a big success, so they can go season after season after season after season.
Mhm.
I guess that's I mean, it's all partially business decisions, I feel like, as well, and that's kind of what it seems to be a lot of here. Not to be cynical, but that's kind of what I'm looking at with this show as well. But I hope it's successful, and I'm definitely gonna watch it. We're all gonna watch it, of course.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Oh,
Just
definitely.
Hopefully.
Hmm.
I'm really hoping it's not, because say what you want about the quality of the original games, but like, because I know Mister, oh, their aim system was whack or
Oh,
whatever,
their
bro.
gameplay sucked.
But the
Absolute
story,
doo-doo. It's duty.
Mm,
story is what made Halo. I don't want to see drastic changes to it. Please, God, no.
Okay.
But
I don't think
that'll.
they will. I think they did mention that it will sort of follow the Halo storyline. They're just not beholden to the story itself. They can make changes here and there. It's just like any other adaptation. You know,
Yeah.
Oh,
think
well,
of Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones did follow the story for the most part, but they made changes here and there. So
we'll see.
yeah, we'll see.
The other thing I was going to go talking about was the existence of a little thing I like to call the King Kong animated series, which
Ooh.
it says here animated series, but then at the very bottom of this article by Republic World, it says anime too. So
Anime.
yeah, it's
hmm.
a little wishy washy here, but it's an animated thing that they're doing. We'll just put it that way. Basically, it's going to revolve around, and this is a tweet from Netflix Geek's Twitter account: a shipwrecked crew, an island of monsters,
Oh
and
god.
one king to rule them all. Skull Island is a new anime series set in Legendary's Monsterverse.
Okay.
Um, Interesting. Um, I wonder what period this is going to be in, because if you go by the timeline, being on Skull Island before King of the Monsters is a good thing. After is a very bad idea.
Hmm.
Because like I don't know if you guys know this, but the reason why Kong can't be like out in the open on Skull Island, cuz they have him in an enclosure, is because when King Ghidorah died, he left the earth with one last blessing. And it's basically a storm that never ends.
Storm that never ends.
Like it just keeps picking up energy and going. It just doesn't stop.
Kind of like the Jupiter storm,
What's a Jupiter storm?
the red eye of Jupiter.
That's an eternal.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
near
the
eternal
yeah,
storm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So King Ghidorah left us with one of those. Now you combine that with Skull Island's own special storm system. It's a
Hmm.
very bad day to be on Skull Island.
That's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
So I'm wondering where they're gonna set that anime in. Hey, we might see skull crawlers again.
Ooh, I
We
want to see
might
that again.
see in the comics there's this really cool lion that they have, or it's not a lion, but like it's a tiger that's kind of phosphorescent
Okay.
and it like has horns.
Mm.
Kind of interesting. Maybe you'll see one of those. I could
Mm.
definitely see that being in an anime because
Okay.
that's like peak anime material right there. They
Mhm.
did it for the comics.
But I guess you're super excited because you are a big fan of the Monsterverse, right? And this is
Yes.
just kind of furthering. It may not be exactly what you wanted in terms of film, but at least they're using other media to kind of
Series.
right. It's a different thing that they're going to be doing to kind of push the thing along and add to that the Apple TV Godzilla series that's coming on. So you've got Kong in anime, you've got Godzilla in live action
There
as
we
a
go.
series. So
Expanding.
it, like I said, may not be the medium that you want right now, which is films, but at least you're getting a furthering of the Monsterverse right now.
Could that mean we're gonna get a Shin Godzilla show, please?
That
Probably
is
not.
not happening.
Why? These
Yeah.
bastards.
Well,
Can't just drop
actually,
something
just
that good.
just I'm gonna get to some interesting bit of news, but
Okay.
before I do that, I kind of want to wrap up the animated series here.
Mm.
I am very clear. Well, it doesn't sound like it, but believe me, I am excited because despite what some people among our crew like to put out there, I like both Kong and Godzilla pretty near equally.
Uh,
Okay.
That's debatable. That's
No, 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 no. See, here's the problem. You guys conflate me not liking it with me seeing an uneven match where I see one.
It's not. It wasn't. It wasn't supposed
Yes,
to
it
be
is
an
an uneven
match.
match.
Was not supposed to be an uneven match, bro.
But
I'm
it
sorry.
was.
I'm
It
sorry.
was.
That's getting off topic anyway.
Yeah.
But still, that
That's
was
that's
no
a conversation for another time, guys.
exactly. But King Kong should have won.
All right.
Oh my god.
Moving on. Moving on. Beep beep
Continue
bop.
So you were
Bop the beep.
talking about being angry at Toho for not releasing another kaiju property like Shin Godzilla, right?
Yeah,
Well, guess what?
they're gonna release another type of Shin Godzilla or something.
No. Toho, I don't remember the exact details, but they are coming out with a new kaiju film. It's under development. Um, I don't believe it's gonna be Godzilla related. It's
No,
gonna be
probably not.
something completely new, probably.
Completely new.
Yes. So
Interesting.
like,
Yeah, I think if it was a Godzilla property, they'd probably be putting it out there front and center. That's kind of their puppy thing, their main thing, you know.
so I don't know. Me being hopeful, I'm really like deep down hoping that they're giving Gamera another shot
Well,
because he's a kaiju that's not
mean,
shown
he's a-
much love, but he's actually pretty. His movies are pretty good. I haven't seen any of the Showa ones, but those ones during the Heisei era, ooh, those were good.
hmm.
I would love to see them show some love to Gamera. There was also a trailer, or like a proof of concept, as they call it in the film industry,
Mm-hmm.
for a Gamera movie that ultimately didn't get made, but it looks super sick.
Hmm.
I would love to see something like that, or that thing exactly, to be the thing that we see. It's just that's basically what I've been excited about.
All right.
Okay.
Listen, it's not a big stretch for AJ to be excited about Toho and kaiju stuff, right? I mean, that's kind of his thing. He basically in his Geek Out hit on probably all of his favorite things in terms of Halo, Godzilla, King Kong. Those are all the things that he grew up with and stuff. So, cool. Um, Mine's gonna be really short because I haven't had a lot of time. But something that just popped up on Adult Swim within the last couple of weeks
Mhm.
is the Shenmue Anime, which has come out. There are 3 episodes as of our recording. I have only seen the 2 because the latest one just dropped last night, and we're recording early in the morning. So I need my sleep, guys. You know, but Shenmue, and I think Jose can help me out on this one. Shenmue is is based on a game that was released back in 1999. I would say almost a, a kind of like a game changing game, right? Would you say? Because I think at the time it came out for Dreamcast.
Mhm.
It was an RPG that featured not only actual fighting elements, but it had quick time events. And the most important
Ooh.
thing, to the two most important things about that game that I remember was the fact that it had real time weather and adaptive weather, which changed randomly, which is something that was never seen before in a game.
Mhm.
And also, every NPC had not only a name, could be interacted with, but had a certain style, had a job, had certain routines,
Well, it was
and based on the weather, they would change their clothes. Also, I mean, it was literally a open world that was
right.
really lived in, right?
Yeah, it was the first like big studio, big budget open world game basically. So, I mean, that's what I remember it for. I mean, did it change the game? Unfortunately, it didn't really change gaming because it was kind of too ahead of its time.
Yeah, and that usually what happens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's this. You can say the same thing about Dreamcast, right?
Hmm.
Dreamcast was a
A lot of those
game
systems.
changing console, right? But it was ahead of its time, and some of the things that the Dreamcast did, you didn't see until maybe a couple of generations later.
Well,
You know
Dreamcast was Xbox before Xbox was Xbox.
exactly.
I can't recall his name, but that was the gentleman that was involved in one of the gentlemen that was involved in creating the Xbox at the executive level was somebody who helped create the Dreamcast for Sega. But yeah, I mean, Shenmue was basically the first open world game, and there were three games, I believe, in total.
Yeah,
In the end,
the first two was done um, by the studio, and the last one, which I think released um, within the last 5 or 10 years, was crowdfunded. You know,
yes,
it was
crowdfunded
crowdfunded through Kickstarter,
at the
and
behest
without any studio interference,
at the
so to
behest
speak.
of Sega's legendary programmer Yu Suzuki.
Yep.
So he
So
was the brainchild, or he was the the genius that behind this game that was ahead of its time, the first open world game, basically.
yeah,
Hmm.
and the game was the most expensive of its time as well, right? And not only that,
Yeah,
well received but didn't sell well, and I think a lot it was largely due into the fact that this was almost like a real life simulator where 98% of the game you were basically walking around and interacting with objects within the prefecture
yeah.
that it's based in.
You have to get a
And
job. You can go to the
yeah,
arcade.
I think what 2% of the game was actually fighting. you
Yeah,
know
you could go train in like a playground and beat people up. And then there were, like you said, lots of quick timer events for different things. You had to,
hmm
I mean, yeah, it could be a tedious game because you would have to
yes,
like wait for the time, like you said, the real time weather and the time that was in the game to kind of cycle around to when you needed to be somewhere, for instance, for a particular mission.
exactly.
So you had to be there at 10 a.m. So you had to wait until 10 a.m. the next day to meet that person there, or until that shop opened.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a wild game. I didn't even know that the anime was out already. What is it about? Have you seen so far? Is it? I guess it's basically about what the game was about, which is
Yeah,
a
basically,
revenge tale, right?
it's adapting the second, it's adapting the game itself, right? And with Shenmue, while it may not have sold as much, it does have a very, very loyal and rabid following. And so when Shenmue the anime was kind of announced, people went crazy for it. And so it's finally here. It came out within the last couple of weeks, and it's on Adult Swim. It is a dubbed version. There is a Japanese version that uses Shenmue's original voice cast for their characters,
Mm.
but the one that we're seeing on Adult Swim is a dubbed version. I've seen the first two episodes. Like I said, there are three episodes altogether. The first one is very exposition heavy. Okay, it may it may be off putting to some people, but the second one really kind of kicks in a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, the interesting thing is what they've done with the main character
Okay.
Rio, because in the game, if I remember correctly, he was kind of like a blank slate. They really didn't give him a lot of um, you know
Personality.
history and stuff. Yeah, and the anime does a very interesting thing. It actually gives his character context in terms of what what was happening before the events of Shenmue. So we realize that he's a student. He is a very capable martial artist because we see him in a martial arts tournament, and
Mhm.
then we kind of get into the actual game, which leads to him witnessing his father die at the hands of a character called Lan D. Um, and also a very interesting thing that they do,
Mhm.
which is I think is really cool. In the game, they never explain why Ryo has a band-aid on his cheek.
Oh yeah, he has that
He
from like all three games, even though
Yeah,
they take place over
never explain it.
a couple of weeks,
Never
I think.
explain it.
Yeah.
Over here they do, because during the scene where he confronts Landy and he witnesses his father die at the hands of this character, they do fight, and he does get the injury there, and that's why he has the band-aid. So they do a couple of things to kind of flesh out the character, which I think is really interesting and really cool.
Okay.
At the beginning, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a revenge flick, a revenge themed thing, because there is the mystery that the father has murdered somebody that he's not aware of, and Ryo gets a letter kind of detailing some of his past life. So at first, you believe that this is going to be one of these things where he's trying to clear his father's name and stuff like that, and trying to figure out what his father's past is. But by the time you get to the second episode, he does make the decision that, you know what, I'm gonna find this Land D guy, and I'm gonna find out what exactly why he killed my father and stuff. One thing, and I'm gonna have to ask you, Jose, to help me out on this.
Mhm.
Um, the mirrors are in the game. There's two mirrors. There's one, a dragon mirror, and there's a phoenix mirror. And in the game, um, the mechanic is that these two mirrors, when found, will re resurrect a certain dynasty. I can't remember which one it was. In this one, in the anime, it seems a little bit more mystical. And I don't
Mhm.
remember if there was any mystical elements in the game itself, because this one deals with a prophecy, and that you know it's very clear on the onset that Ryu is basically going to become the one, right? That he's going to gain the power, this mystical power. He's already an accomplished martial artist, but there is a sense that he is capable of a lot more, and it has to deal with this mystical power. I don't remember that being in the game. Do you?
Uh, man, it's been such a long time since I
I
played this
know
game,
that's
and
the
I
thing,
didn't
right?
play a lot of the second one. The first one was a little bit more rooted in reality, but it had like mystical dream elements, things like that, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't think that they ever finished the story. I don't think he ever caught up with Londi, even by the third one.
Yeah, the third
So,
one basically didn't push the story along. That's one of the criticisms of the third one.
yeah,
It really didn't push the story along. It was just kind of more of the meandering, walking around type of thing, you know?
yeah. Like, I mean, the games themselves have been criticized, all of them, for not pushing the story forward very much, because by the first game, I mean, all you do is you find like the mirrors, you like beat up a few people, you work a couple of jobs, and then you get a plane ticket, and like the game ends. Like you get on the
Right.
plane and like you leave. I didn't play much of the second game. I didn't beat it, so I don't. All I know is that from what I understand in the second game, it's either the second game or the third game. There's like a sequence where you have to walk from one city to the other that takes like 3 or 4 hours, and
Yeah.
all you do is have a conversation for the entire time. So like that's kind of like, oh man, I just don't remember if like those are the details of the game, because the TDM just never allowed me to finish the story, even though it was interesting. It was just
Right.
too much, especially like I was like 19 when the first one came out, whatever. And, the second one came
Hmm.
out a few years later. I didn't have the attention span of an adult still, still a developing brain,
Right.
not quite a teenage brain, but I just don't remember all of the plots from that. But I wonder if maybe like when they're adding all this new backstory to the characters, I wonder how involved Yu Suzuki is in the anime. Actually, is a question that I don't know if we have the answer to, but
He
I wonder
is.
if he's going to
He
use
is.
this. Well, there's I guess that begs my next question. I wonder if he's going to use this to either drum up interest for the next game to finish the story, or if he's going to use the anime to finally finish the story. I wonder which it'll be.
I think it's the second thing. I don't think there's a lot of interest, unfortunately, for a fourth game, and
Unfortunately,
I
no.
think
Yeah.
he sees this as the opportunity to finally tell the story that he wanted to tell,
Yeah.
and just get it done. And the interesting thing is, and speaking to that, and I'm gonna wrap this up because we need to move on, but.
Mhm.
The interesting thing is that third game was criticized only because of the fact that he had free reign to do whatever he wanted on that game,
Mhm.
and that game did nothing to move the story forward.
Right.
Whereas opposed to the other two, you had, you know, people writing and kind of saying, "Wait, we got to do this." The thing with the anime is now he's got screenwriters that can help him kind of realize this vision and move it forward. So
Mhm.
I think that's what this anime is going to do for the story and for the games. That this is going. It's been greenlit for the first 13 episodes. We don't know if we're going to have a season 2, but I would imagine that he's going to use this to try and finish the story of Shenmue, and just kind of say, okay, guys, this is our love letter to you. Here you go. The first 2 episodes is kind of a mixed bag for me. The first one, like I said, was very exposition heavy, but it did do a good job of kind of giving us a sense of the character, which the games didn't do. The
Mhm.
second one really starts the journey, and I will say this: the animation style, nondescript, the fight choreography, pretty good. Okay, based on considering it's an anime,
Mhm.
and I do have a sense with the second episode that it's going to get better.
All right.
I haven't seen the third one yet, but if the first two are any indication, at the very least, try and watch it. I'm not saying this is a groundbreaking anime series. It is not. It's probably somewhere in the middle. But if you're a fan of Shenmue, you definitely have to watch it. And if you're even curious about Shenmue, I suggest you give it a shot.
Yeah. Or if you're a fan
And
of Yu Suzuki, the legendary creator of Hang On, Space Harrier, Outrun, Afterburner,
yeah,
Virtua Fighter, you
I mean,
name
the
it.
man's done everything.
He's done it for Sega.
He's not a slouch.
No slouch at
So
all.
yeah, I like I said, I haven't seen the third one. I'm hoping the third one is even better than the second episode. It'll be disappointing if it goes and takes a step back, but I definitely think you should give it a shot.
All right. Shenmue, the anime. Where is it available right now? Actually, again,
It's you can watch it. It's streaming. It's well, it's not streaming. It's on Adult Swim. So I
Ah,
think it comes out Saturday nights or Sunday nights. I'm not
it
sure
might be on
exactly.
Funimation.
I just record it and watch it afterwards, so I don't watch it live. So
I'll have to figure out where I can get that from. But
yeah,
all right, moving,
there you go.
chugging right along. I'll finish up our geek outs. I'll make a couple of quick mentions for a couple of things, and then we'll jump into the meat and potatoes of it. First geek out is I've been gaming a little bit more. Again, I had taken a bit of a hiatus from a couple of things. I've been busy as y'all have been. So I've taken a little bit of a hiatus from gaming and from other things, and I guess y'all are in the thick of it, and your hiatus is current. But I've been playing a little bit of NBA 2K22, renewed interest in
Ooh.
basketball.
Mm.
Through for an odd reason, for a fairly odd reason. The essentially sports betting came to New York City in the form of various apps, and I decided to dip into that. Wanted a little bit of money on football, and been winning a little bit of money on basketball. So I got the itch to play a basketball video game again and watch basketball again, which I haven't in many years because I'm a New Yorker and I'm a Knicks fan, and you know, as a Knicks fan, we've had our heart broken many a time. Especially, I got my heart broken by the Knicks when I was just a young lad, barely a teenager, 12, 13, 14 years old in the 90s. So But yeah, I've been playing NBA 2K22, and it's been fun, like getting used to playing a basketball game again because the style of basketball is so different that than it was when I was watching it more in the 90s and the early 2000s at the latest. So I've been playing a little bit of that, been gaming a little bit again, been doing a little bit of that. There was a sale on that, so you can get that right now on all your favorite platforms, all your favorite video game platforms. I got it on Xbox Series X, and the graphics are really cool.
Damn.
The other thing, I'm going to move on. The other thing that I've been geeking out about is continuing the tradition of anime related geek outs. And I've been, just like I did with Breaking Bad, I've been pushing y'all pretty hard to watch this show. And that's Attack on Titan.
God. Yeah, Attack on Titan. Yeah.
I've been using any opportunity that I possibly have had recently to send Attack on Titan articles and memes and things like that to our various chats. The Anime of the Year award that it just received, the award that it received for its lead actor, Yuki Kaji, I believe is his name. I'm sorry if I butchered that or I got that wrong. Who plays the lead character, Eren, received an award. And as far as popularity, it's received a lot of awards, or not rewards, but a lot of acclaim recently as one of the most popular shows on in the world. Also has some of the highest rated episodes of television, period, including higher than some Breaking Bad episodes, and some episodes that have 9.9s on IMDb in terms of ratings. And the main character being, this is a semi-spoiler, I guess, but the main character being named both the best hero and the best villain in some recent anime polls out of all anime TV shows. So the show is super trending right now because the most recent and final season of Attack on Titan is out. I wish Wolfie were here so that he could talk a little bit about it. I'm not sure how caught up he is, but as always, I'm super caught up. And without spoiling it too much for y'all, because the whole joy of this show is to discover more and more craziness as the show continues to go on. Without spoiling it for y'all, like it just has one-upped itself again in the most recent episodes. It started off relatively pedestrian as far as the show goes, but its most average episodes are better than pretty much any anime out there right now, if you ask me. And then went into complete crazy, like what the F territory over the last couple of episodes. And I think some of the actors in this particular season already deserve awards for just a few minutes of screen time. Some of the Japanese voice actors. But I mean, it's an absolutely amazing show. One of the things that I guess I'll talk about, and then we'll just move on to Multiverse of Madness, which is my next geek out, and my final geek out, which is going to be Peacemaker, which we're gonna have a bit of a conversation about, is the reason that I think that show is so great partially is because of the influences of some of the shows that the creator Hajime Isayama watched, and he talked a lot about how he binge watched a lot of American shows. Apparently, he binge watched all of Game of Thrones in like 2 weeks.
Huh. Wow.
And again, without getting too much into the show itself, I'm just going to talk about, I guess, influences and themes and all of that. A lot of people have spoken about how the show has changed over its run. The first season, it was, again, to use the word pedestrian, more of your run-of-the-mill anime, just, the heroes flying around with their Spider-Man equipment and like stabbing titans in the head to try to kill them. But because of the influence of, I think, a lot of these shows, like Breaking Bad is another one that he mentions, because of the influence of a lot of these shows, he changed the show to something that was greater and more character driven, and like it just, I don't even know how much more I can say about this show on this podcast.
Is this like the last season?
This is the final season. Yeah, the manga is over. Yeah. The anime is on season 4, part 2, right now.
Wait, the anime?
The anime, yeah. So the anime is ending its run. It's available on Funimation. It's available probably anywhere you can stream anime. Just about anywhere you can stream anime. I don't think it's available on Crunchyroll, actually.
You said this is probably is this like the best anime for you?
I think this is probably my favorite anime. It's not over yet, so it's hard for me to say. I want it to finish.
Mhm.
But like, as far as like, this is not just my favorite. I've said this before. This is just not just maybe my favorite anime ever. This might be one of my favorite like shows ever. Period.
Shows.
Just TV shows, not just anime. If it
Mm,
sticks the landing, like it might, it's not going to be just my favorite anime ever. It's going to be one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
damn,
So,
that's some high expectations. I'm gonna, I feel more inclined to watch it now.
I
'Cause
mean,
you said like, yeah,
it's up there with like a Breaking Bad to me. Like I said, I said that at the jump. I gave you all the recommendation for Breaking Bad over and over and over again until you
yeah,
probably wanted to puke from how much I was talking about it. But it was a great show, right?
yeah. Breaking
Yep.
Bad, Breaking Bad was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if you trust, I guess, my opinion on this, then definitely at some point, and checking out in Japanese, checking it out in English doesn't matter. The Japanese is probably a little bit better, but the voice casts are amazing in both languages. Check it out as soon as you possibly can and catch up so we could talk about this on an episode. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I really want to. Let's move on. Let's
sure.
move on.
Want to check it out?
I don't want to take up all of our time with just my couple of geek outs. Let's talk a little bit about the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness trailer. What do you guys think about that little movie coming out? That little independent
my
film coming out in the next
gosh,
couple of
bro.
months.
So, further validating what if with zombies.
Oh my god,
Zombies.
That's gonna be
crazy.
yeah.
Zombie,
Oh
God.
man.
There's they just gave away a lot in the trailer, bro. If I'm
I
being
still don't
completely
think
honest.
that's everything though.
Yeah, obviously.
That's what I'm
Not at
saying.
all.
Eli, I agree with AJ. I don't think they've given away like almost anything.
I know,
Is the
but
crazy
that's
part.
what gets me so hyped. It's like they gave away what seems like so much, and then, oh my gosh, it's just
It's
crazy.
also so little.
Like, oh my gosh, we get like so many.
So little.
Yeah, but we get like so many references and stuff.
What was the
Like,
most hype thing that you saw in the trailer, in your opinion, Eli?
see, I don't know, but
Is there
I'd have to
two? Are
think.
there like a couple? I would love to hear like what you think you're most excited about. I guess the ramifications of what you saw in the trailer and what you think might happen.
Oh, like a prediction.
Maybe a prediction, but like like I said, maybe just some hype you saw in the trailer. Like we all know that there was a certain
Oh.
voice,
Yeah. Wait, voice.
a voice of a certain actor.
He's not an X-Men fan.
Oh, Professor X.
Yeah.
Oh, yo, no way. Wait,
Okay,
Wait,
take it back.
is it confirmed?
Well,
Or did
he
he?
the,
is-
the
See,
actor
I
is
missed this kind of
denying
thing.
it.
Oh my gosh.
The actor is denying it. You can hear his
No,
voice
stupid.
though, but his credentials are apparently on IMDb.
Yeah.
So it's a very wishy-washy thing at the moment.
Yeah, I mean he
gosh,
was
really?
I was watching the Super Bowl like I said earlier. I've kind of been like winning some money on sports betting. And I was watching the Super Bowl like in Jersey somewhere, and I saw the trailer. You know what I mean. But it was like in a loud, like crowded place, relatively crowded place. So I didn't really hear clearly Patrick Stewart in the trailer the first time I saw it.
Professor X, let's
But
go.
then the second time I saw it, I think I kind of was distracted again, also like by something. And then I finally sat down and I saw it, and I was like, "That's that's Patrick Stewart." Like a dope after the third time that I saw it. I mean, and that's my answer to my question. Like, I'm super hyped about Professor X,
Oh my
possibly,
gosh, but-
and like whatever other X-Men from whatever other timelines they decide to bring them from into the MCU. I feel like they're gonna
You
do
know
more
what
than one.
actually be
Wait, it's
funny?
gone.
What?
You know how that room where they bring Doctor Strange and you hear Professor X's voice, that's like obviously a kind of Illuminati style council. At least that's what it looks
I
like.
called it. I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine
the-
Deadpool's on it.
I think that's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen.
But he's
Oh,
not
yeah,
even
you know.
fit to be there.
Yes.
They had
But it'd
the
be so
Ultron
funny
bots.
though. Like,
I think he
Well-
might be. Well, just like Walt, I'll let you make your point real quick, but I
Mhm.
think he might be only because somebody pointed this out, and it's kind of silly and it's kind of funny when you think about it. But if you think about Deadpool, even in the comics, his fourth wall breaking ability is a superpower. He has
Yeah.
like awareness. So that could be a reason for him to be on the council, because if you bring him into an area where you can sense the multiverse, quote unquote, he can probably use his fourth wall breaking ability to help them there. So
Yeah.
you could explain something stupid like that and then bring him into the MCU afterwards forever. Like, but yeah, I think it'll be awesome. I would love to see him on the Illuminati.
Apparently,
And
apparently, dead Ryan Redpool.
I was
I
about
was about
I
to
was
say
about to
Ryan
say that.
Redpool. Just Ryan Redpool. No, no, but yeah,
Were you talking about Ryan Reynolds?
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, okay. What did he say?
He apparently addressed the rumors, and he promised that he wasn't on Doctor Strange
Yeah.
too.
Well, it's
Yeah.
interesting because
Fact.
Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool, was on a podcast and said, "Well, of course he's going to be in the movie."
Oh, bro,
You know,
you
so I
already know.
mean,
All
you
these
had.
denials are bogus.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny
It's confirmed then.
because we saw the Super Bowl commercial, right?
Mm.
And you guys didn't see it originally, right? I had to like kind of rewind it. And when we did, it said full trailer online. So what did we do? We went to YouTube
Oh
to try
no.
and find it. The first video that we saw was from Screen Crush, and
So many bogus
that I think that's a
videos.
bogus video. But one of the things that they put in that trailer, quote unquote, was
Freaking the Tony
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 Stark.
Stark as
Reed
You know.
Richards,
casted
and
as
all this
Tom
stuff.
Cruise. Oh my god.
But you know what? Those Tom Cruise is Iron Man rumors have been out there for a long
No.
time, and they're gaining more and more traction. And you
Don't.
got to
I don't
remember,
want that.
originally Tom Cruise was, I think, the front runner, or at least the people in Marvel wanted him to be Iron Man for the original movie.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
listen, I gotta say that out of all the rumors that I've heard, this one actually might be true. He might just pop in for a quick minute, being an
No.
alternate variant of Tony Stark and
No.
whatnot, just for s and giggles, as they say, right?
Listen,
I
the
can't
Illuminati
picture
doesn't
him.
have to be
No.
prominent after this, right? I mean, it could
Right.
just be they just have to be there. I mean, in the comics, they're more prominent because they protect the main Marvel universe and the
Right.
Earth in the main Marvel universe. But if they're
Hmm.
protecting the multiverse, they're not going to be involved in every storyline. So you could have whoever the heck you want. You can have Deadpool. I think we're going to see John Krasinski. You know,
And that was the other
I'm
guy.
fine with that.
He was the other guy that
Mr.
was on the fake
Fantastic, right?
trailer.
Right.
Yeah, he was the
Yeah.
other guy that was in the fake
Fake
trailer.
trailer,
So
of course, they're going to do that.
yeah,
Kang is another one that's being, or one of the variants of Kang is another theory. I think Deadpool's a good theory. I think Professor X is a good theory. I don't think Black Bolt's going to be there. Mordo,
Black
Oof.
Panther.
Mordo's
Black
another one,
Panther.
right? Black Panther,
On
right?
the same iteration as
variants.
in the comics, but you know,
A variant of Black Panther. Michael B. Jordan is another theory that I've heard.
ugh.
Who do you all think is going to be in the Illuminati Council in this one?
Ooh, Illuminati.
'Cause
Oh
there's
my god.
5 visible chairs, and we've heard
Oh,
Patrick Stewart's
I
voice.
have one.
Well-
Mephisto. That's totally a
Mephisto
viable
confirmed.
option.
Exactly.
God.
If we're talking about pre-existing characters, I think Shuri has to be one because the Illuminati is usually
Yeah.
a group of the most brilliant people on Earth. So if you're gonna put somebody on there that's pre-existing and you want to have her stand in, so to speak, for Black Panther, I think Shuri is a definite candidate to be on the Illuminati,
Remember,
right?
these are the most brilliant
Yeah,
people in the
I can see that.
multiverse, though.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Well, we don't
Captain
know
Carter's
that
another possibility, right?
though. That for sure. Yeah, Captain Carter is another one. Maybe this is a good way to introduce Riri Williams as Ironheart.
Mhm.
You know,
Ooh,
if we're talking about characters that are not out there, then obviously this is the perfect opportunity to bring in Professor X, the
Yeah.
perfect opportunity to bring in Reed Richards, the
Yep.
perfect opportunity to have Tony Stark
not as
being
Tom Cruise.
Tom
please.
Cruise.
No, no.
I mean,
No.
this is, and like you said, Jose, if this is just kind of like a one-off, then Tom Cruise will definitely do it. I mean, he's going to get paid
Right.
2 days at like how many millions of dollars just to show up to say maybe a couple of lines and be done with
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it's not even
Why
necessarily
wouldn't he? Right.
a one-off, but it could be like a cameo type thing occasionally.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
You
Like
know,
you just pay
we
him.
pay you like $10 million to say one line.
Yeah.
No.
How do you say no to that? Right.
No.
Stop.
Please
So,
say no.
Please stop.
I think it'd be great.
No. No. Tom Cruise as Tony Stark. No,
And
no.
let's talk really quickly about the poster, because the poster had a bunch of different kind of you know what do you want to say, like little reveals and stuff. The one that I found more interesting
Easter
is
eggs, right?
there was a reveal,
Mhm.
Easter eggs. There was a reveal that you know there is an animated part to this,
It's in the
right?
trailer
Oh
also. That's in the
Is
no!
it in the
trailer.
Yes.
trailer?
Yeah. So
I'm gonna miss that then.
it's
When I know
it's
that they were
very
falling, right?
there's so many, yeah, when they're falling through multiverses and crashing through multiverses, there's a part where a little animated universe pops up on the
I
screen.
have to look that again because there's so much stuff in that, and that's kind of embedded in that trailer, right?
In the trailer and in the
Oh my
poster,
god.
possibly, like you said. There's a lot of
Yeah,
Spider-Man
things
there's
that
like
are
little
Miles
shards
confirmed.
there.
right. There's a lot of things that are not confirmed. One of the things that we definitely have seen in the poster is Captain Carter's shield, right? So
Yep.
that's the what if connection. The zombie versions of Wanda and Doctor Strange, which is already in the trailer, right?
Yep.
Some of the things that have not been confirmed are Deadpool. One, there's a shard of him that looks like him doing his shush.
Yeah.
Um, there's one that's oh goodness, I can't remember the actor's name again. Apologies, but Cyclops from the Fox X-Men movies, the original Fox
Oh
X-Men movies.
yes. Yes.
There's supposedly some shard that shows him in there. I mean, there's a billion Easter eggs in this movie, which is why I'm super 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 excited. Even
Yeah,
Man.
I think the bottom line is that this trailer really has set the excitement level for this upcoming movie at like, you know, 12 or 13, you know.
But
Apparent.
all of that, like, oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
Wait, no, you go first.
No, I'm gonna be wild. Go.
Apparently, there's a quote unquote leak. I'm pretty sure it's a rumor for sure, obviously, but Ghost Rider might be in Multiverse of Madness.
which one?
Huh? I don't know which
Well, there's
one.
only one. It's Nicolas Cage.
You also
But
have Robbie Reyes.
there's
Yeah, Robbie
from
Reyes.
there's
I
room-
think they're trying to forget.
there's other
Who's
rumored.
actually not a
Oh.
bad Ghost Rider.
Doesn't matter if whoever it is, it's Ghost
Y'all haven't
Rider.
heard the rumor? There's another
What?
rumor
Yeah,
out
the
there.
guy
plenty
from
of
Walking Dead.
Norman Reedus from Walking Dead
Yeah, there's that too.
and from
He would
Death
not be a bad
Stranding.
Ghost Rider.
He would be a
He would not
fantastic
be a
Ghost
bad-
Rider. He
Yeah,
would be the best
exactly.
one yet, in my opinion.
But I kind of
Um,
like Nicolas Cage's unhinged
Yes.
version. You know,
Nicolas
it
Cage.
kind of fit the way his character was. But yeah,
he could be
Norman
in the movie
Reedus.
also.
Yeah, but Norman Reedus would be a fantastic Ghost
he
Rider.
could be in the movie. Nicholas
Feels
Cage could
like
be in the
my
movie
skull's on
as two
fire,
characters.
but I think I'm good.
God.
He could be in the movie as two Marvel characters. He could be noir Spider-Man and
Mhm.
and Ghost Rider, right? Because he was Noir Spider-Man. Okay, I want to hear.
And create the crossover of Superman.
I mean, AJ, you sounded like you
Oh,
were gonna go on a quick little rant, but I want to set an expectation. We're gonna move on to Peacemaker in a couple of minutes after that. But the last thing I want to hear is I'm feeling in a bit of a betting mood, as I've noted. I want to hear what you think is going to be the craziest cameo that maybe nobody is expecting in this movie. I even have an actor in
Wolverine.
mind, but it's a total long shot. Anyway, AJ, tell us if you have any opinions. You said you were going to be a while, so I'm going to give you a while if you need it.
Wait, are we doing the projections or am I doing the thing?
Whatever. Well, if you want to do your projection, go ahead and do that. But if you, I
Okay,
think you
so
said you had
just-
something else that you wanted to say. But if not, you can move on to the projections.
All right, I'll just go on to what I was gonna say then.
Mhm.
I think the thing I'm really looking forward to here that the trailer teased was the possible showdown between Wanda and Doctor Strange.
Ooh,
That looks like a
yes.
beef right there.
Is she the-
'Cause there was that line in the trailer. It was like, "Oh, so it's okay for you to mess up. You get a free pass, and you're saving the world. But I try to do that, and I'm the villain." Like, dude, that is tense.
Doesn't seem fair.
Oh man.
That is
Yeah.
tense.
Oh god, this is gonna be horrible. This is gonna be amazing. Oh my gosh, bro.
It's going to be a massive
man.
conflict. I mean, she could be the villain of the film, but that's a whole other set of
I would
theorizing
love to see that.
we're
I
going to
would
do.
love to see that.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Would. Yo, what y'all know about Shumagorath from Marvel versus Capcom 3, bro? That yo, they're literally changing his name. It's no longer Shumagorath. It's freaking Gargantos. It's mad
Yeah,
stupid.
we'll see. It could be
It's
just
Yeah.
like one of his avatars, kind of like a dark side thing, because he is a multiversal being, sort of. They could change that around a little bit and maybe change it a little bit. You know, and Loki might be in this
Yeah.
film too. I just wanted to mention that off the top of my head because that's another
Everybody's going to
possible
be in this
somebody.
film.
yeah.
Everybody's going to be in this film.
Any,
Speaking of everybody going to be in this film,
yes,
Wolverine.
you think Wolverine's going to be
Calling
the
him right
biggest, craziest?
Please.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
That's the one you put your bet
Yes.
down on.
Yep.
Eli, what about you?
Yes. Yes.
Same.
Yeah.
You're gonna hedge on that. You're gonna keep that bet. All right. Walt.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the one everyone's looking forward to.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
Look,
Wolverine is going to get, if he shows up in that film, he's going to get the type of pop that you got when what's his name said Avengers Assemble in Endgame, and the type of pop that you got when you first saw Andrew Garfield kind of walk out of that portal. You know,
you're like,
he's the guy. He's the guy that the crowd will go crazy over. So
okay.
yeah, I would say Wolverine is the one that everybody's looking forward to.
I'm gonna put my money down on a semi unlikely one. I think it's a long shot, but I think it's possible. Although, who knows what we'll see. I think we're gonna see Miles Morales. I think we're gonna see the live action version of Miles Morales. Not only that, but I have been standing, I guess is the term. I don't know if that's the term in this particular situation. It might be inappropriate, but I've been standing for Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things, the kid from Stranger Things, to be Miles Morales. And if you look on his Instagram, he's freaking jacked right now. He's a little older. He still looks like he could play a teenager, but he's jacked, and he's doing like martial arts training and like boxing training. So
Wouldn't be a bad choice at all.
I think
Wouldn't be a bad choice at all.
I think it'd be a fantastic choice. But like we'll see. We'll see. That's my long shot for who's going to appear in this film. Let's continue on to the topic of the day, the final thing that we're going to discuss. Before we do that really quickly, I just want to remind y'all to please like, rate, share, and subscribe to all of our content and all of your favorite social media platforms.
All three.
And check us out on all of your favorite podcast platforms at Get Geek Podcast, basically everywhere. Hashtag Get Geek Podcast, basically everywhere. And give us a review on Apple Podcasts if you want to support one of your favorite podcast crews. Let's move on to the final topic of the day, my final Geek Out, which is the topic of the episode because it was just so darn good. I'm going to spoil my opinion on that. Peacemaker.
Do you really want to taste it?
All right, first opinion. Most unskippable intro to a TV show of the year so far. Easy.
Yes.
Listen,
It's-
listen.
Come
Listen.
on.
It's been what, 7 episodes, right?
It was 8
I don't
total.
think
Eight in total,
eight
right?
total?
8 in the
I
finale,
didn't skip
in
the
final.
intro once.
Not even once.
And usually I'll do, maybe I'll watch like the first intro and then skip it on the next followings of all the episodes. Never skipped it at all.
Okay.
It doesn't get tired.
There were
It
8
doesn't get tiring.
episodes.
Good.
There were 8 episodes. I've definitely seen the intro more than 8 times. So let's put it that way. Okay. I've actually
Great
like
to
tried
know
to
that.
pause it to watch the dance moves and look for little Easter eggs, and I haven't really found much. Although
James Gunn is a god.
what's his name? Judo Master is hiding in the background before he comes out, though. If you look behind one of the panels, he's hiding over there. So Peacemaker, most unskippable intro of the year so far. Thoughts, opinions. We've all finished watching it. Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I heard that John Cena cannot dance. They did that multiple takes to get it right.
Well, he's very rigid, and I've heard it in
Which is
reviews
perfect.
also. One of my favorite takes, and I can't recall who said this, but one of my favorite takes is that whoever did that choreography, like, thank you for finding wonderfully weird moves for this wonderfully weird and awkward man. For like the wonderfully weird way that he moves, because they made the comment that like he's a wrestler, right? So he knows how to move. It's not like he doesn't know how to move, but he's still very stiff and awkward. But like they made the whole dance centered around that, which is so they made the whole show centered around that, basically.
That thing is amazing.
Which
And
is
I love
beautiful.
the fact that they gave him license to kind of go off script. And one of the best instances of that was when he was naming off all those names. I mean, that one
Oh
is
my
is a
god,
gift from James Gunn to us, because that was the one of the most amazing
bro, that
bits that
was
When
I've
he was
seen in a long
when
time.
he was ranting
So
at what's his name, Economos. That's my
yes,
dog playing with a toy. Sorry,
yo, yo. Oh my god, that was amazing.
he just
it was
wandered
perfect
in.
that when you say Economos, that happened, right?
Economos mother. That you know what? I was gonna like make a joke and be like, Economos mother. It would have been awesome if that beep had just like kind of
Yes, I
censored
dye
that
my beard.
dye beard. Yeah, he was
Dye
ranting at
beard.
Economos for framing his dad, the
Yes.
T1000, instead of
Yes,
framing literally any of the like 70 or 80 people that he named, including Ariana Grande and
Oh my
I
god.
think
Ariana Grande.
Megatron was one, right?
yes,
Or-
yes.
Megatron. Oh god.
fictional and real characters. I'm surprised he didn't say John Cena. That would have been really meta.
Yes,
Yeah, that would've
that
been
was the
good.
one that I was actually waiting for. I thought that he was gonna pop that in there and then say something like, "You can't see me" or something
Yeah.
like that. You know,
He's invisible though. You can't actually frame him.
that would have been perfect. But that show was amazing, and you know what? It shows that DC, if you give the director, free license to kind of do whatever the heck he wants. This is right up there with Harley Quinn in terms of enjoyability and just crazy sickness. You know, because both shows are really cringeworthy on its own, right? Like some of the things you really shouldn't be able to be doing on in this era, right? But they do it with such glee and just such happiness, and you could tell every single person that was associated with this project was having so much fun, and I think that really shows in the product that they put out.
You know what's kind of remarkable is you all. I don't know if you all noted this in watching the show, and even I think that people might have missed this because it was so entertaining. The plot of this show is almost exactly the same as the plot of the Suicide Squad movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's not that much different.
It's not very different, and yet
Yeah.
because of the charisma of John Cena and the ridiculous writing of James Gunn, and like you said, the fun that everyone's having, Mern and Harcourt and Adebayo and all the other characters, all the bad guys, even what was his name, Captain Locke, that weird like police
Yeah.
captain who
Guy
they
from Supernatural.
Alistair. Yes.
Yo.
did you guys see some of the post credit scenes that they featured a lot of
Yes.
him
Yep.
in
Oh
a
my
lot of them.
God.
Yep.
That is just
I'm telling you,
horrible.
they had so much fun filming this production. I can't imagine. And the funny thing is, and I'm gonna raise my hand on this. I didn't think we needed a Peacemaker show. I
Nobody
I
did.
actually thought that this was going to be one of those money grab type of things where it's like, why do we need to see John Cena? John Cena's character is not spectacular anyway, and boy, did they prove me wrong, because this has gone from something that I didn't think we needed to something that I would watch 3-4 times again. You know,
Yeah.
so and and not to skip ahead to the finale, but they finally did the thing that other superhero shows never do, or movies never do,
I'm okay with
right?
skipping ahead to the finale. We could jump all over everywhere if you want. I
Yeah.
think I know what you're referring to though.
Yeah, and you know what it is, because usually you'll have these shows, right? Especially in the MCU, where it's a world threat, right? Like a world ending threat.
Hmm.
And there is a larger group of super powered individuals that can come in and stop it, and they never do.
League that can
But
administer justice.
James Gunn did it in such a way, and I love the way that he did it. I really do.
I'm so sick of that rumor.
Yeah. Well, he was like, "You guys, way too effing late. We already took care of it.
Go F a
Now,
fish.
and so
Oh my God.
what we're referring to is the appearance of the Justice League at the very end of the show, right?
Yeah, after the threat
Missing,
had been dealt with, the cow.
yeah, we were missing Cyborg and Batman, which ironically enough, they did film, and they had to cut them out of the final product
Interesting.
because if you go online, you can actually see the actor in full Batman gear. And he was like, you know what? Now that the finale is over, I can share that. Unfortunately, I was there, but they cut me out because WB has their things and stuff like that. So they would have shown James Gunn would have shown the entire Justice League, but WB decided, nope, Cyborg, you can't do it, probably for obvious reasons, and Batman, you can't do it. And maybe that's because they have the Batman coming out soon, but who knows?
I guess. Didn't you love how right, the Justice League shows up at the end after the threat is dealt with by Peacemaker and the crew, the Eighth Street crew, whatever the heck they called themselves, I can't remember. And you have Aquaman, the Flash, you have the actors, right, that play Aquaman and the Flash. I find it interesting. I kind of get why Gal Gadot didn't show up, right? It was probably
I don't think they had the budget. I think that's what it boils down to. They didn't have the budget for that.
And then Henry Cavill, we already know that there's that wild dispute about whether he's going to be Superman anymore or not. And so they didn't really, they kind of just showed them in shadow and they didn't say anything. They just had the Flash and Aquaman make their quips at each other. But this show was funny, right? I mean, that was the best part about this show, 100%. This was almost like the Guardians of the Galaxy for I think for DC, even more so than the Suicide Squad was.
Yes.
Because of the family dynamic.
Can I say Vigilante is a godsend?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, who's your favorite character? Is that your favorite character, Walt?
Vigilante? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Vigilante is so socially awkward and disconnected, but he is great, especially the interplay between him and John Cena. Those guys, I'm telling you, those guys are having a blast through all this because I can't imagine. I gotta imagine that they had to do multiple takes on this because a lot of the times they're doing it straight faced, and I can't see how you can do that, in one take. They probably had to do this 20 or 30 times before they got it right. Those guys were incredible, and the actor that played Vigilante, a different take from a Vigilante that we've seen before because Vigilante has shown up in the Arrowverse. In that one, he was way more serious, way more deadly, and not a clown. I prefer this version of Vigilante by far.
He was just as deadly.
Yeah, but you know what? He wasn't as cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs as this Vigilante.
Yeah, like Deadpool in this kind of a little bit.
Basically,
except he can't heal.
They basically made him into the Deadpool of the DC universe.
All right,
right down to the swords. Right,
Vigilante.
He only has one though.
Yeah. Still,
he's still very, very close.
He's very much the one quipping like a Ryan Reynolds, like a Wade Wilson, like a Deadpool.
But, oh my gosh, love him though. Love him. He is definitely my favorite character of the show.
Does anybody else have a favorite character that they enjoyed?
I'm pretty sure everybody has Vigilante as their top one.
My favorite character was his dad's neighbor, the old man.
Oh,
he was my favorite character, but I just thought he was worth a mention just because of.
You have a cotier of villains.
Yeah, and how that even came up again.
I spoke them all. Remember, Batman's too. He can't do what needs to be done.
Oh my gosh.
That was
not wrong.
That was one of the more entertaining parts of the show as well, right? Just how they had all these awesome references to the DC universe that is kind of absent from a lot of other DC projects, and James Gunn is just not afraid to go there and put these characters in the actual show if he possibly can. I think that was really, really cool and really, really fun, especially how they almost treated them like they were characters in The Boys, in the way that Peacemaker described them, and he would always have a rumor for every single one of the superheroes. How the internet wouldn't lie to him, and how the random people on Twitter wouldn't lie to him. That was always a fun conversation. What else did you guys enjoy? Did you enjoy the action scenes in the show? What do you think about the action?
Of course. I mean, Sonic Boom all the way.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that was horrible what they did.
It feels like a lot of the things that he did with his helmet went wrong, right? Like especially like Human Torpedo.
Yes.
Oh my. Oh no. Don't remind me about that. That was
No, I
hard
out
to
of all
watch.
the out of all the helmets that he has, I love the one that gives everybody except the wearer scabies.
Oh yeah, within a mile
That
radius.
is a great helmet.
You feel
That is a great
I feel like
helmet.
they're
So
going to use that one in the
hard.
future. That's going to be in like season 2, which is confirmed, right? They confirmed season
Yes,
2
it
for the
is.
show.
Yes.
Yes, it
Why
is.
would you even make that though?
Why not?
The helmet with
That
scabies.
Oh, a helmet
that
for
was his father, and oh boy, was he!
Oh, he was messed
Wow.
up.
What was it, White Dragon?
the
Yeah.
T1000. This is
Yeah.
He was messed
the
up.
white supremacist that allowed him to have a redemption arc for with his
Mhm.
own twisted superhero origin story, where his dad made him do Fight Club against his brother. What a weird show! Like when you even like talk about it in the aftermath, like the plot of the show being the same essentially as the Suicide Squad, and just like the weird characterizations on this show, and the amount of people that explode is another.
By putting
That's
Peacemaker in one sentence.
that's James Gunn leaning into his horror elements when he first started. I believe he first started with Trauma, right? Which is famous for the the Toxic Avenger.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
So
that that was one of his first movies
yeah, well, I don't know if he did
projects.
that movie, but I know he was a part of that whole production and stuff like that. And then one of his early movies was Slither, you
Hmm.
know, which so he started out really in the horror industry, so to speak. And you can see elements of that clearly in some of the stuff that he makes going forward and stuff.
Yeah, sort of.
Now, in terms of favorite characters, because I know y'all said yours already,
Hmm.
Peacemaker and Vigilante are my go-to. But even though this guy didn't get a lot of screen time,
Oh
you
God.
gotta love the guy the mopping guy, at the hospital.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He is my
Yeah.
favorite, hands down.
Just from that first conversation he had, an argument he had with him.
And
Yeah.
then the second time when he actually had him call in a favor and come to the school. Why is your
Oh my
why
God.
is your pet's name so unoriginal? Shut up, kid.
Oh, you're that racist superhero.
No, I'm not.
I love the names that he was calling all the kids also.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
can't recall any of them off the top of my head right
I
now,
know,
but
but they
like
were
just some of them were pretty great. And like he was just picking
Listen,
on them.
we also have to give a shout out to Eagly.
Yeah.
Eagly, the goat.
Eagly is the unsung MVP of the show, especially he had a couple of scenes where he really showed off how devastating a fighter he can be, you know.
Eagly's
Oh, yeah.
badass.
Yeah,
He was
exactly.
hardcore,
So,
whatever it was that Vigilante said.
yeah, Eagly is another guy that didn't speak much,
He just hugged him a
but
couple of times.
His
Yes,
actions spoke
exactly.
louder than his words.
There you go. There you go.
Um,
His relationship with Peacemaker is
Goated.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's almost you can't even talk to it because, like the girl said, she had an epiphany the moment that she saw an eagle hugging a human. So
Such a
There you go.
random and wild show. I love it.
it was.
Are we not gonna talk about Judo Master
Well, yeah.
and how
Yeah.
goated he was? Oh my God.
Eating his
Cheetos.
what was it? His Cheetos.
Flaming
Yes.
hot
I
Cheetos.
I think he was
Only
eating
real goat
Cheetos
did
and
that,
Eagly
bro.
was being offered Doritos for the product placements all throughout the
Gosh.
show.
Yeah, and eating Cheetos while he's crying, which is great. I mean,
end.
come on.
And you know he'll be
Yes.
back because he still
absolutely.
lives. But like,
Yes.
actually, well, will he? Because I don't remember if he was he infected by the butterflies? Thanks, Opie,
No.
for your opinion.
No.
My dog's giving his
He
opinion.
was just helping him.
No, he wasn't. That's right.
No,
They
he
had just
wasn't.
convinced him. But he just had superpowers somehow and super endurance to get hit
Yep.
by cars and all this other stuff and somehow survive.
Dude got shot.
Mastering his chi or something.
You know what I think needs to happen? You know what I think should happen? You know what I think possibly will happen? Maybe we'll wrap up on this. I think DC is definitely realizing what a fantastic creator they have. Very possibly in James Gunn. I think he's going to get the Kevin Feige treatment eventually. If I'm doing this thing where I'm like betting on futures, like I said, I bet on the Illuminati being in there. I bet on some of the things that are going to be in Doctor Strange. He's not tied to the MCU after Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? A lot of the stuff that happened was kind of directly a result of the Marvel and the DC interaction, because I believe the reason that he was supposed to be able to get the Justice League in there is because Marvel gave him the opportunity to film that scene afterwards. Only because the guy that plays Myrn, he actually interviewed for a job for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So this was kind of a reciprocity between the two studios.
Okay.
Where it's like, okay, we'll let you do this and stuff. I, as much as I love James Gunn, I don't think that he fits the Kevin Feige role very well, only because James Gunn has a very specific style in terms of filmmaking and storytelling. And while it works for properties like Guardians of the Galaxy and Peacemaker and stuff like that, and Harley Quinn, those type of shows, I don't know if they would be better served in terms of the more serious properties like the Batman, like the Superman, like the Wonder Woman.
Well,
So
remember, he wouldn't be
that's the
directing
only-
and directly involved in the creation of every one of these. They would be different. They would take the MCU approach and have different directors that would bring their different thematic strengths to it, but still have him deal with the whiteboard, as it were, to kind of arrange everything. The Kevin Feige treatment, like I said, Kevin Feige doesn't write any of this stuff really. He comes up with the overarching story, right?
But I think the difference there is that Kevin Feige, he's kind of like the Dave Filoni of Marvel, or Marvel as Dave Filoni is actually the Kevin Feige of Star Wars, where here's a guy who is so invested and is so knowledgeable about the universe that he's overseeing. And I don't know if James Gunn is that guy. Now, I'm not saying that he can't be, and I'm not saying that he isn't, but I've never gotten the sense that he is like the end all to be all when it comes to DC universe knowledge. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing that separates Kevin Feige and Dave Filoni in their respective universes. And that's where I don't know if James Gunn is that guy. You know what I mean?
I have only one small rebuttal. Did you know who the heck Polka Dot Man was before the Suicide Squad? That takes some knowledge.
Again, yeah, I know, but again, it was a thing where he looked at the source material and kind of grabbed the guys that he needed to make his movie. You know what I'm saying? And so, of course, he's gonna pick obscure characters. He did that with Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy was before he made his movie. So he's good at picking unknown characters and kind of doing his own story for them, So that's what I was saying. But anyway,
all right,
yeah,
all right. I guess that we'll leave it off there.
Peacemaker all the way, man.
Thanks, y'all. Peacemaker. Thanks, y'all, for joining us on another episode of the Get Geek podcast. Once again, final plug. If you want to support your favorite podcast crew, the Get Geek podcast crew, you can find us at Get Geek Podcast on all your favorite social media platforms. You can hashtag Get Geek Podcast to find us basically everywhere on all your favorite podcast platforms, where, if you please, would like, rate, share, and subscribe to our content, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star review for one of your favorite podcast crews. And thanks for this great conversation about all things geeky, about Peacemaker, about the multiverse of madness, about anime, whatever else. And I guess there's nothing left to say but the usual. Stay geeky, my friends.
There we go.